Welcome to EO Talks, Eastern Oregon's very own talk show, only here on EO Alive.
Hey, Eastern Oregon, thanks for jumping in with us today for this CHD Covid update. And as always, it's nice to have Carrie Brajati with me. And how you doing? How are you surviving out there?
I'm doing pretty good. Trying to stay inside and stay warm. Grateful that I have power, honestly, because I know that there are a lot of folks in the country that are without that right now. So I'm always trying to find the good, and I'm definitely grateful to be in Eastern Oregon right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a little crazy over on the west side. Like,
yeah,
thousands of people without power.
Yeah, definitely. So it reminds me of our public health work for emergency preparedness, where we really encourage people to think about, I mean, it's true. And I have to be honest with you, like I probably have some room for improvement myself. So it definitely does remind me about the importance of being prepared for any kind of emergency. Really having, we say, I think the common recommendation is 72 hours, but out here in Eastern Oregon, if the freeways were to get closed or there were extended periods of time where power was out, you really could struggle to get some of your basic supplies for a good period of time. So, I think right now our work has been so focused on COVID-19, and I think there's a reason for that. But I think in public health, we do have a lot of other areas of work that we do. And one of them is emergency preparedness and response. And I have definitely been reflecting on that as I've watched the news the last few days, and definitely started thinking that maybe I need to do a little bit of that myself for the next time that could happen here.
Well, thank you for taking the opportunity to keep us prepared, because that always is the case. So that's cool. All right. Well, so talk to us about COVID. We haven't talked about that before. So, talk to us about what's going on.
Sure. I mean, I think I'll start out by saying that it seems like there's relatively good news in terms of COVID-19 cases, both locally and in the state. I think over the last few days, we've had cases in the low 100s, and that's been a while since we've seen that. I definitely think that we are seeing fewer cases right now. I'm not going to make any speculation on what things will look like this week. I think after a holiday weekend, it's likely that there aren't any tests that were done, or not a lot of tests that were done, and we could see tests come in over the next few days that could bump our case counts up. But I'm trying to remain optimistic and hopeful that the trend we're seeing is that the cases are going down. So, I think we still do need to remember that there are cases happening in our community, and to, continue to follow the practices that we've talked about so many times. I know people are tired of it. It's really hard to keep it up. We've been doing this for almost a year now, and I know that it's pretty exhausting to act in ways that we're not used to, but it's definitely the way that we're going to keep those numbers down, and definitely the way that we're going to change the risk category that we're in, that will allow some of our businesses to operate in different ways, allow some activities to resume. And I think, as I've said before, a lot of it's in our control. If we really take those actions and we take those steps to mitigate the risk to those around us, we can keep the numbers down and keep them low. So, I'm hopeful, but, also still wanting us to be vigilant.
So do you think the numbers are decreasing? Well, first of all, tell us where the numbers are, and where are we in a warning week and next week? And I mean, tell us where we are, and are we hopeful of moving categories, you think?
Yeah, well, I have to be honest with you. I've been hopeful almost every week around this time. We are in the warning week right now, so we will not have any movement. The next movement week, the numbers will be released next Monday. And so right now we're just going to get some preliminary numbers. I think that the last full week where we had 23 cases, I believe we reported another 5 yesterday. So, we're definitely still within the range of being less than 60, which is what we need to move out of the extreme category. And like I said, I'm always hopeful around this time of the week, but I also feel like I have no crystal ball. Things can be unpredictable, and we really don't know what's going to happen until we get to the end of the week. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed that next week things stay the way they are now and we are below 60.
And that's below 60 in a 2-week period of time.
Correct.
So do you think that those numbers changing are because of the vaccine? I mean, do you have any way of knowing the trend, or are we being fewer workplace outbreaks, or, do you have any sense at all?
Yeah, I really don't. And I've been trying to kind of speculate myself what might be causing the downtrend both here in Union County and the state of Oregon, nationally. I mean, we know the numbers are going down across the board. I was on a call last week where somebody was asked this question, one of the health advisors from the OHA, and they said, people are doing what we asked them to do. And so, at this point, that's really the best answer that I can have. Is it possible that testing has gone down due to the fact that we're ramping up vaccine efforts? So the work that we were, putting into testing is now going into that. It's possible, but I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't had a chance to go look at our testing numbers to see if the number of tests being performed have gone down. If the number of tests being performed had gone down and the cases hadn't stayed the same, I think, sorry, let me just back up. Right now, we're going to be testing people that have symptoms. So the likelihood that the tests we're doing now are going to come back positive is high. So I don't feel like, even if our test numbers had changed, we weren't doing as many tests, I don't feel like the number of symptomatic people being tested would necessarily go down unless the cases were actually going down. So again, I don't have a good answer. I feel like we can speculate on all kinds of things, but I think the thing is that they are going down. We can continue to have them go down if we follow the practices that we've been talking about for a while now.
Good. So let's talk about vaccinations. And
sure.
How many people do you think have had their first dose at this point in our county? Do you have a guess for that?
Well, I don't have a guess, a good guess. What I can tell you is that the Oregon Health Authority is actually reporting out this information on a regular basis. You can go onto their website, and there's a dashboard that specifically shows the number of people in Union County that have been vaccinated. I think that there are probably a few folks that have been vaccinated that are not reflected on this. I kind of go in and check it based on what we're doing, and I think there's a couple days where we might be not showing all of the folks that we did, but we're about 2,500 total individuals have received their vaccine in Union County so far. There have been over 3,300 total doses administered. So what you see reflected in that number is that we actually have almost 800 people in our county, probably potentially now more, given the way data is reported, people in our county that have been fully vaccinated. So that's really exciting news for me.
Yeah, I can imagine so. So yeah, tell us the number, in the system of who gets vaccinated next. Which group are we on, and what? I don't have a chart today, but tell me who is in that group. Where are we at, and who is the next group to be receiving their first shots?
Yeah, so I actually am going to look at the chart, because now we're getting into this transition where we have a different group that becomes eligible each week. So, as we've talked about before, we have the group 1A that we have been vaccinating for quite some time. Then we moved on to phase 1B, group 1, which included our child care providers, early learning folks, and K through 12 educators and staff. And then on February 8th, we started moving on to older adults. So now we have the ability to vaccinate people that are 80 and older. And as of yesterday, we added people 75 and older. So next week, we'll move into the next age group, which is 70 and older. The week after that, it will be 65 and older. And then after that, we're still waiting for a little bit of guidance from the Oregon Health Authority to know exactly where we go next. So right now, anybody that's in that group above, I think it's 75 and older. See, I have to keep going back and looking at the guidance. 75 and older will vaccinate, and then we'll just keep adding folks into that. So once we move on to another group, it doesn't mean that if you were in a previous group, you can't come. We're just adding everybody on. So if for some reason you weren't able to get in and you're in one of the previous groups and we have appointments available, we'll vaccinate you.
So it's kind of like boarding an airplane. If your row was already covered, if your row was already called, you can go in anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And so where do people go if they're in that group? They want to be vaccinated. What do they do? What is their actions?
Yeah, so right now, the best thing that somebody could do if they want to know when vaccine appointments will be available is to go to our CHD website, so www.chdinc.org. And if you go to /subscribe, you can actually sign up for our listserv. And every time we update vaccine appointments, every time we open them up, we will send out an email to that listserv so you can know what time those will be available, where to go to sign up. We have everything, all of our scheduling is done on one website, which is the CHD website /get vaccinated, or sorry, GV stands for get vaccinated. And I'm sure all of this will be posted, but it's all pretty accessible on our webpage and on our social media, and the listserv is the best way. It's also the way that we're going to communicate with people when their second dose of vaccine, when they can come get that as well. Right now we are really trying to encourage people that are able to use the website to schedule to do that. As you can imagine, we've been doing probably like close to 500 first doses a week. We're now adding in second doses into that. And so that is a lot of work to get a lot of people vaccinated. And so it just helps us be available for people that do not have the ability to use the internet to schedule their appointments. There are lots of people that that's not an option for. And if you are one of those people, you can call us and we will help you navigate the process. We will help you get signed up. But if you are able to use that online scheduling tool, it really helps us free up time to talk to people on the phone who are able to use that. We're trying to make it as efficient and easy as possible for people to get signed up when it's their turn or when they need their second dose.
So one of the questions that somebody is asking on Facebook is I know some health workers are not getting vaccinated. Why is that?
Yeah, I think at this point, people are making their own decisions about whether or not they choose to take the COVID-19 vaccine. There's not any employers, to my knowledge, that are mandating the vaccine. So, again, at this point, that isn't really something that they're required to do by their employer. So I can't really honestly tell you what an individual's own personal decision for choosing to take the vaccine or not take the vaccine is. So, again, I think at this point, it's up to them. We're definitely trying to give people information about the vaccine, any questions that folks have, so they are able to make a decision that works best for them. But, right now I can't really speak to one individual's decision about that.
Have you heard any information about, do you have any idea about the different, and this might be too technical of a medical question, but the feeling of, I've heard that there are some people that are waiting for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that's coming out because of whatever reason and so on and so forth. Are you hearing that information from others? Do you have any information on that? What are you hearing people's opinions about that are?
I think I definitely understand the appeal of taking one dose versus two doses. Again, I think these decisions are really personal. I think that they're, based on people's own information. And so, what causes one person to want to take one vaccine over the other? I think, again, we all have our own individual reasons for that. I feel like for me, it's like, what's the first chance I have to get the vaccine? The one that's in front of me, I'm going to take. But, there may be some people that have other considerations. Like, what if you have an allergy to one of the ingredients in those vaccines and it's not really a good option for you? Then, yeah, you might very well be waiting for the next vaccine that comes down the pike because it might be an option for you. So again, I think these are decisions that individuals make. I think that I would encourage people to talk with their own healthcare providers about what's the best option for them. So beyond that, I don't really know.
So what other events do you have coming up related to vaccines?
Right. So right now, obviously, we're giving out our first doses of vaccine, but we have the second doses as well. And so we really do, when people have gotten their first doses, we've given them the option of scheduling online if that's something that they're able to do. And so we have appointments for those vaccine clinics open and ready on our website. If yours isn't there yet, if it doesn't, the corresponding appointment time for you doesn't show up there yet, it will. I think the other thing I'd like the community to know is that we are hoping that we're going to get a little more consistent supply of vaccine. At least, and when I say that, I mean that we will know how many doses we're going to get week by week. Up to this point, we haven't known until Thursday what we have available next week. So it makes it really hard to plan and schedule clinics far in advance. And so we are actually hoping that at least for the next 3 to 4 weeks, maybe even up to 6 weeks, we'll have a consistent allocation from Oregon Health Authority. That's going to allow us to hopefully open up appointments a little bit further in advance. So that will give people more time to schedule those appointments or a little more advance warning. So, we're hoping that we'll be able to open up some additional first dose clinics. I think the other thing that I want our community to know is that some of our pharmacies are starting to see vaccine coming as well. I believe that Safeway Pharmacy in La Grande has COVID-19 vaccine and is offering appointments. I would say that those appointments are still limited to the current priority group. So you're still going to have to be in one of those eligible groups that I spoke about before. They're not going to be able to give you vaccine if you're not in one of those groups. And they may have different policies around billing your insurance. And you'll just really need to consult with those pharmacies. But I believe over time, we'll continue to see more pharmacies have the vaccine available. We'll just have increased opportunities for the community.
So somebody said they just went on to the CHD site and that February 22nd group for 70 and up is already full. And you had mentioned that before we started. So for those people, when do they just keep checking back, and when are they going to be served first before the next group? I mean, how does that work? I would imagine they're wondering that exact question. So when you have more vaccine or more capacity, how is that going to be distributed?
Yeah, so the best thing for folks to do is to go on and sign up for that listserv. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to send out an email at least an hour before we open up the appointment, so everybody has a fair chance of getting one of them. Like I said, if for some reason you're not able to use the internet for scheduling because you don't have access to technology, you can always call CHD and we'll help you work through that. I understand that this is really hard because our supply is limited. And so we're not going to prioritize people within those groups if all of the groups that are eligible for that particular clinic will be able to schedule an appointment. But what our hope is that we'll be able to open up enough over time that everybody who wants the vaccine will be able to get it. And I know that this isn't an ideal situation because the vaccine is limited. We're just really doing the best that we can to give folks enough warning so they are able to have a chance to schedule an appointment when they open. So the best thing to do is to sign up for that listserv. We'll give you a heads up on when those appointments will open, and hopefully you'll be able to get one.
So, and I put that information. This is where the subscribe, this is where they can at least be on the email list for breaking vaccine news, we'll call it.
Right. That's exactly what it is. Yes, breaking vaccine news. And,
Okay.
I will say that, when we have opened up appointments in the past, and we've done this, we've been doing this for a month now because we've given second doses already. We have, there have been appointments available for at least an hour or more. So, as long as you're keeping an eye on that email listserv, you should have a pretty good chance if you're in one of the eligible groups to get signed up. Yeah, they are filling up quickly. And, like I said, if I had the power to give everybody a vaccine today, I would do it. We're just able to give out what we have. And I really just want to assure people that we will get everybody vaccinated who wants a vaccine, but it is just going to take us a little bit of time. And so we just have to continue to be patient. But like I said, they're not filling up within, a minute of opening them up. So if you get that email, check the time that we're going to open the slots, you should be able to go on there and you should be able to get an appointment.
And it's fine. I'm generally, and clearly, sometimes we pay attention to those people that are like, oh, you're not getting the vaccine or you don't want to. But the truth is that there's more people that want the vaccine than what there is vaccine available right now. And so, and that's a really good thing. It's a good thing. We need more vaccine, but some of that other stuff it's not really relevant at this point. We just need those people that desire it, want to do it. And I have been, with older couples or older folks that were kind of in that category, and they genuinely have been enthusiastic and enthused about becoming vaccine or getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's the word. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we're really happy to be giving people vaccine at this point. It's, this is definitely the step in the right direction to protect our community so we can hopefully get back to some sense of normal.
And I would imagine that people cancel too. They make an appointment and they cancel, and you guys are looking for ways of backfilling those appointments and so on and so forth. So.
Yeah, we have all kinds of systems set up to make sure that we fill all of the appointments and that we use every single dose of vaccine we possibly can. So, like I said, it's just a lot easier for us from an efficiency perspective for people to use the online scheduling system. We don't want that to be a barrier, though. So please call CHD if for any reason that isn't an option for you. But it's a pretty quick, pretty simple process for getting signed up, and then all your paperwork's done. So you can just show up and we'll move you through the process to get you protection.
Yeah. And for those, there's some people that are commenting about, well, I didn't get the notification. And I guess, the thing is they just need to call. They just need to connect with you guys and make sure that they're connected and signed up and so on and so forth. Well, and I would imagine that for those people, if we have loved ones or we have people that are in those categories, and again, we say this every time, but they are not connected, electronically, they're not going to see this, we still need to be on the lookout for our loved ones and friends that are in that category, and we need to be checking with them and say, well, hey, did you know that vaccines are available? And let me help you get signed up. Or, we still need to continue to help people stay connected.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because that's one of the things that you and I have talked about a lot, is how our actions in this pandemic are often about helping keep other people safe and caring about each other and caring for our community. And this vaccine process is definitely another opportunity for us to do that. So you may know somebody, either a neighbor, a family, a friend, somebody that may not be able to sign up for the listserv because the email is not something they use frequently, or they may not have a computer. They may not know how to log on to the website and fill out that form, but you can totally help them through it. And we've really set it up so, you could sit down with somebody and walk through that process with them and get them set up. And so I think, if you could check in on your family, check in on your friends, check in on your neighbors, check in on people that you're not sure are getting the word through this venue or others, and just ask them if they're interested in the vaccine, and offer to help them get the information, offer to get them signed up for an appointment, offer to help them through the process. Again, it's just another really nice way to take care of each other and take care of our community. And this will be the way that we get to herd immunity eventually, I hope.
And for those people that, are not being connected, or maybe they should have been notified and they weren't, it's a regular routine to check through the junk mail. Did it go there? That is such a pain in the neck for me, but I routinely will go through there and I'll find a message that somebody I get emails from all the time. And for whatever reason, this particular time it went to the junk mail, and it's 2 or 3 days old and I haven't responded, so. But
yeah, definitely check that. You can also, resubscribe. Just make sure that there wasn't a glitch. I mean, I have definitely been known to type in my email address like one letter wrong, and then it won't come through. You can also, continue to check that chdinc.org/GV, which stands for Get Vaccinated, website. And right now, if you go on there and refresh, like I said, there aren't any first dose clinics available, but we do have our second dose clinics listed there. And as soon as we have a first dose clinic open, they will be there and updated. So again, those are just check our social media. We're posting it there too. There's lots of places where you can kind of keep an eye on things to hopefully be notified when our next times open up.
Good. All righty. Well, anything else before we go?
Yeah, I do just want to say one last thing. I know early on we talked about the wraparound services, and I definitely want our community to know that those wraparound services are still available. So, we're focused so much on vaccine right now, but like I said earlier, there are still people that have COVID-19. And if they need assistance or support in carrying out isolation or quarantine recommendations that they're given by public health, really encourage them to continue to utilize that wraparound support that we have set up. Part of the reason I brought that up is that we are relying on a number of community-based organizations to help provide those wraparound services. But in addition to that, our vaccine clinics have been aided by those same partners and some more. So I really just want to thank our partners who have stepped up to help us do the vaccine clinics. I mean, we're doing, 250 to 275 doses of vaccine in one day at each of these clinics. We're doing multiple clinics a week. It's a pretty big effort. It takes a lot of help and a lot of support. And we've had assistance from Grand Run Hospital. The county emergency managers played a huge part in our clinics. The Red Cross has stepped up and sent volunteers. Northeast Oregon Network, a number of our other community-based organizational partners that have been critical in our response work so far are showing up and helping at our vaccination clinics. So I just really want to thank them for their efforts. And I really want the community to know that this has been a group effort. I really want the community to know that there are lots of folks that are stepping up to help make this work possible so we can get the vaccine out to our community.
Excellent. Well, as always, thank you, Carrie, for jumping in with me today and for the update. And For our audience who might not have put it together, this time that I have with you is every other Tuesday, and then on the off Tuesdays, we are having a CHD update about some of the other services that CHD is offering. And right now we're concentrating on MAT services, which is a program that helps people get off of opioid drugs. That's the bottom line. And it's a whole complete program, involves counseling, involves the monitoring of medication in order to do that. And so every Tuesday, there is an update from CHD, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about COVID. And I'll see you 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And thank you, Eastern Oregon, for joining us. And we will